I'm Jeff Mixon, and this is another edition of the Civitas Institute's Talk of the State program. Joining me here again is our in-house budget and finance analyst, Brian Balfour. The Senate has recently passed its version of the budget. It's got a lot of stuff in it, a little bit different. What do folks at home need to know about the Senate's budget?
Well, a couple of important points that people should probably know about the Senate budget. Number one is that the Senate seems to be using some rosy revenue projections to help balance the budget. They're actually projecting an increase in tax revenue going in for the next year, which is kind of hard to digest given the economic climate right now. Secondly, also to try to help plug the budget hole, is that there's a $500 million or $500 million in tax increases. But they're not specified. It's just a general tax rate adjustment line included in there. So it's kind of like a tax to be named later. So
we don't know whose ox is going to get gored in that process.
Right, exactly. It's kind of like the Senate just decided to punt and not make any difficult decisions. They just said, we're going to need some extra tax revenue. A couple of things people might be interested in terms of education budget. The Senate proposal would allow for an increase in class size of the maximum size class size of up to 2 students per class, which would involve savings of about $322 million. So that's one thing a lot of people are interested in. And also the Senate budget, one thing they do differently than the governor's budget is also they would authorize a little over $300 million in new state debt. Of course not to be approved by taxpayers at all, which continues their trend over the last several years.
So they're going to dig the hole deeper, raise taxes higher. Does not sound like a very wise budget at all.
Yeah, kind of difficult to, in my mind, to justify increasing, digging that budget hole even deeper, as you say, especially after some of the recent warnings coming from the state treasurer's office, telling us how the state's credit card basically is virtually maxed out. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes as the budget gets debated with the House side as well.
And the thing that bothers me in the back of my mind is we tend to think of the North Carolina Senate as being a little more responsible than the North Carolina House typically has been in the past. They tend to be portrayed as being far more friendly to business interests. So for them to make these decisions, you have to wonder, what will the House do? Because is there a role reversal here, or is there just going to be a case of bad cop, worse cop?
Right, and one thing we're going to have to definitely pay attention when the House comes out with their budget, things could be really different because we could be looking at the what they call the April surprise, and what that is when the final tax revenues roll in. Oftentimes they like to use that as a pleasant surprise where they get more money than they were expecting, but I really don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think they already know that the revenue projections are pretty bleak. I think they could end up being even worse. So that's really going to come into play in how the House is going to then craft their budget. So
no tough choices have been made. We're going to leave it to somebody else.
We'll see. Yet to be determined. Yes, exactly.
Well, stay tuned with us. We'll keep you up to date on the movement of the budget through the North Carolina General Assembly and give you an inside track on how your government spends your tax dollars. Join us again next time on the Civitas Institute's Talk of the State for more budget information that you can use.